a really 1.5 update. This is going to go with the last video and not the next video, because I just stopped the last video like 5 seconds ago, because I wanted to show you. This is basically the pillar that I'm talking about, and then you can just carry this on up 2 decks, and this is what happens. So you can see the roof is now attached to the bottom, to this pillar, because there's no strength here, obviously, because this thing will just like there, right? But that's why I do this every so often. This guy here, I mean, you could technically go all the way around with it, with the canopies as windows, and just have the reinforcement from the back. But I like this because it's, you know, strong enough. And you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in this shot here. Probably not. Actually, when I'm looking at it, I did not do that here. I did this in the Habitat. On this, I did use canopies all the way around. But behind, I put 5 trans yellow canopies, and then I put a blue canopy, because you can get blue canopies. And behind the blue canopy, so from this, just picture this being a canopy, a blue canopy. Behind here is this whole 2x6 here. I put 2x6 reinforcement. So this is what connects on my observation deck, the top to the bottom. So the blue canopy hides that. And so there's a 5 trans yellow, then a blue, then 2 trans yellow, which is right on the corner, and then a blue, and then 5 trans yellow on the other 90 degrees, and then blue, and then 2 trans yellow, and then blue all the way around. So that worked fine. So I hit it on my Habitat. I use this idea. And the Habitat, what I did to make it stupid strong, because I wanted the inside, because this is the cruise quarters now in the Habitat, and then there would be doorways. So each cruise quarter had 2 windows and a pillar, and I just duplicated that all the way around, which made it really stupid strong, also heavy. But with the Habitat, there's an inside wall going from the top to bottom with a doorway in it. So this little area here is the cruise quarters for 2 crew members. And then you know, I put a little closet in there and a little desk in there with a terminal on it. I really like that. I might actually build, because I got this thing mostly done now, I might build the whole entire mock of it, so you can see what I did there. And then you step out the door and into the center area, which is what I'll show you in a bit. And here, which is where all the tables were, and you know, the cafeteria, the workout room, whatever you want, that was in the center. So the cruise quarters are all lined out on the outside, separated. So each 3 wings was cruise quarters plus the pillar, which is a wall, then 2 more wing plates and whatever. So that made it really, really strong. There was 2 different ways of building that, because you have to take into account the monorail itself. So the monorail track does fit perfectly around this outside diameter. The problem is that the monorail trains themselves, I'd pull one down, but I might knock a lot of things off my wall here. The monorail trains themselves, I'll just throw everything off onto whatever. When it takes a corner, there's interference. The side of the monorail will hit the side of your building. Even if it's a 4 wide, like my monorails are 6 wide. But even if it's 4 wide, if you're building up like this, because the monorail track is right there, this will interfere with the monorail train itself. So what I did for those areas where the curve comes around the Habitat is, instead of putting this in here, I put a slope. Let me see if I can take this apart. Take that off. And then I'm gonna have to go back to, this is sad, bring the whole thing right down. I'm gonna have to go back to the plates. Give me 1 plate there. This was supposed to be a quick video. Another plate there. And then I'm gonna get, just a sec. Uno momento, por favor. So here, I would have to put the plates back on and then put these roof pieces on the top. So when the monorail train comes around, because the plate, the track itself is with these 3 plates here, and then the motor is like there, so it misses it. And then the monorail train would miss it, and then basically you just build up with 1x4s on the outside like that, and the inside like that. So I did that wherever there was a curved monorail track around my habitat. And then sometimes I would substitute these bricks with either trans yellow 1x4 bricks or a window with trans yellow in it. So you can get around that. You just can't build on the outside all the way up to the top, to the next level, just by doing this. So there are basically 3 separate builds per wing, depending on where it is and what it's doing. Either it's a pillar like that to keep it together, or if it's a window, you saw that, or if it's this. And all mine are basically that way across the board, no matter where it is in the layout. I didn't change that up much because it just became like, well, the term boilerplate, all of it became just boilerplate. I did not put a lot of quote unquote finesse into making it all radically different. I also, with the layout, I wanted it to be, if you sat through that video yesterday, I wanted to have a consistent feel to the entire layout. I don't mind Moonbase because it's eclectic, and this portion doesn't equal that portion, and that's the whole point of Moonbase, is to have various different styles and builds and colors and layouts and kind of thing, but they all work together, which is why I love Moonbase. But for this layout, my layout, I wanted to have a consistent feel to it. So it looks like they were designed by the same engineering staff, or built by the same engineering staff, designed by the same architects, whatever, that in the universe to have, like Space 1999, you watch that, all the corridors look the same, all the buildings look the same, all the exterior shots, no matter which way you're looking at it, looks the same, looks like it's the same builder. But each building has its own specific function and form to it, blah, 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 but it felt cohesive. It's one thing I adored about Space 1999, is the cohesiveness of the feel of the Moonbase and the ships, and like everything that came from Alpha Base felt cohesive. Even the modularity of the Eagles and all that stuff. So a bit of an inspiration, not direct inspiration, because my Moonbase looks nothing like Space 1999. But the inspiration was to have a cohesive feel to it. Now, while we're talking about it, because this was 1.5, I'm already 8 minutes into it. Yeah. Just by looking at that, I forgot what I was going to talk about. When I first built the monorail station, the topaz looking thing, some people didn't like it because they thought it was too stripy, and I'm going to not fault them at all for that feeling about that, because it is stripy. Which, like, put that picture where this does not look too stripy, because I minimized. There's where the yellow is, there's where the yellow is. It wasn't that stripy. Excuse me. Anyway, not too stripy, but the actual monorail station itself, very stripy. and the only reason why I did that, where I didn't do it in any other building in the layout, is that it's a monorail station. And I mentioned that the inspiration from Empire Strikes Back. I mentioned the inspiration, huge inspiration by Peter Reed's little micro base, and it's a direct homage to Peter Reed's little base there, the micro base, Odessa base. Also, yeah, Star Wars 2001. I think I mentioned that a few times, like the observation deck, that round thing, is that right from that spaceship, the space station that circles Earth. I wanted that in the layout. The original plan was to have the observation deck, again, pull this out in case you know what I'm talking about, this observation deck here, which we're rebuilding here, to have it unfinished, because the space station in 2001 was unfinished when they were flying toward you, because part of it was not even built yet. I was going to do that for the first bunch of layouts. It just was easier for me to finish it. So, because to make it look unfinished, I'd have to finish it and then go back and remove it and make it look like there's scaffolding and stuff. But anyway, so that didn't happen. So 2001 inspired it. The CN Tower inspired it. Empire Strikes Back inspired it. And of course, the original direct inspiration is Peter Reed's Odessa base. I think it's called that. It's just been a long time since I actually looked it up. But Peter Reed, massive inspiration to this. But one of the key inspirations of the monorail station is Toronto, not the CN Tower, Toronto, but the subway station's Toronto. so I remember just going into Toronto from Hamilton, and my buddy Pete and I would skip off school and sporadically, don't tell the parents, we would skip off school in our last year when we were, whatever, and we would take to go into Toronto, and then we would hop on the subway and spend the day in Toronto. And so we hit many subway stations and every subway station looked different and sometimes similar, but the stripes. And so I wanted the monorail station to look like inspired by Toronto's subway stations. So that's why it looks like that. I could have removed half the stripes and nobody would miss them, not even me, but I don't want to. So anyway, that's the end of that tangent. I'm going to get some pieces to start building this. That's going to be part 2. So this was all 1.5. It'll be right after the last video. And it's almost just as long. So how about that? You guys, I'll talk to you soon. Take care.